So maybe a Scrappy-Doo would work better than a Scooby.
Taku, どうするの?
She definitely reminds me of some kind of cute animal. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Chaos Child. It's been a while. Confession time. I recorded the next episode, but not really. So, I was talking for close to an hour and didn't get recorded. So we're gonna do that again. I'm gonna try to catch all the keyword abilities that may not be obvious, but just know if nothing blue comes up that is something you don't know, it means it's already been logged to the keyword dictionary in-game. So, sorry about that. When last we left, we were going to find a pattern to the killings. Thank you. Kazuki seemed to be communicating in her own unique way. She walked over to the bulletin board. She's got to be my favorite girl so far. And tapped the printouts on the two cases with her finger.
Kazuki, どうした?
What is it, Lassie? You say there's something there. She did it again. I saw the part she was pointing at and nodded.
そう。日付だよ。7日、19日。
So there's a date pattern to the killings.
共通点。9月7日と9月19日。渋谷で発生した異常な事件。わかるだろ?
Nope. I kept looking at Ito. Usually he would be the one to pick up on this. A second later, he froze. He must have figured it out.
猟奇マニアのお前ならわかるだろ?
I pinned the images I just printed out onto the bulletin board.
9月7日
More gross stuff.
集団ダイブ
Oh. I'm glad I can't tell what it was.
9月19日
Oh, no, more. Not more.
妊娠
Oh.
男
God, this is gonna be a macrame buffet. Yuck.
9月29日貼り付け
This is horrible.
10月10日ヴァンパイア
Oh, that's festive.
10月23日ノータリン
Brain dead. Did he get lobotomized or
10
something?
月28日うまい手
Somebody else ate a hand.
11月4日ドキュンパズル
Just when we thought we'd never see the streamer from the beginning again, now all this pops up. I was woefully naive.
ニュージェネレーションの狂気
New generation madness. What was that? Brutal killings that took place between September 7th and November 4th. 14 across 7 incidents were killed. Oh, geez. Yeah, there's a pattern. We've got 2 so far. Coincidence once, maybe. Twice, I don't know. 6 years ago, in 2009, a series of strange deaths had occurred just before the earthquake that struck Shibuya on November 6th. They became famous for the words left at the scene of every crime scene. Those eyes. Whose eyes? I'm not sure if that's an accurate translation right there. I heard that there were some issues with the translation of this game, so that might not be right. They call the killings the New Generation Madness. The murders took place in Shibuya, but the whole country took an interest in them. At the time, I was in 6th grade, and just like a lot of people, I followed every new development on the internet. Could this have been Chaos Head reference?
日付が6年前の事件とぴったり一致してるんだ。事件も自殺っぽいっていう内容はともかく、 猟奇的だという点で同じ。
偶然でしょ。
She looks like she really wants it to be. She seemed to be trying to force the words out of her throat. Kurusu was acting a little strange. Her arms clutched her torso even tighter.
副部長
Maybe it was because of all the creepy pictures she'd seen. I don't blame her. Kurusu was clearly shaking. She tried her best to stop it as she spoke.
何でも関連づけて大きくしたがるのはやめなさい。2つたまたま一致しただけでしょ。
I won't give up. Only one truth prevails.
偶然かそうではないかはすぐにわかるよ。ニュージェネ第3の事件が起こったのは9月29日。つまり今日だ。
Oh no, that means if another killing happens today...
もし今日渋谷でまた妙な事件が起こったらその時は間違いない。偶然が3つ続くなんて放っておける要素じゃないだろう。
Is it wrong for me to want to be excited about the prospect of somebody dying in a weird way? I'll take that as an yes. A phone rang. It was mine.
はい、もしもし。
いや、事故？とにかくタクの言う通りのことが起きたかもしれないんだよ。
Hey, it's Serika. I almost forgot about her. So the mystery gang has assembled. I could feel my heart starting to race as she spoke. I wonder which one is Scooby. It was a love hotel area in Dogenzaka, 5 minutes from Shibuya Station. A few days ago, there had been some kind of suspicious fire here, and I'd come to do some reporting. The place was supposedly a love hotel spot, but even at night when business should have been booming, it wasn't particularly exciting. During the day, when all the lights were turned off, if you didn't look at the signs, it wouldn't look very different from your average neighborhood. Inconspicuous love hotels. Weird. One of the buildings was a 4-story love hotel with the terrible name Fairies Dance. It faced a narrow street, and there was no parking lot, so the police car was parked at a meter nearby. We got here fast. Serika was standing in front of a general store some distance away. She was supposed to be spending the day taking photos of the area around the last 2 crime scenes.
何があった？
What indeed?
わかんない。さっきゲンさんと107の近くですれ違った時にここで何かが起きたって教えてくれたの。
相変わらずあの人はよくわかんないな。どこから仕入れてるんだそんな情報。便利だからいいけど。
Who is this guy, I wonder? Again, it was a homeless man I knew who sold me all the books in my secret stash, the How to Date books. Weird specialization, but he was a drunk who claimed to be of noble blood, but the stories he told me about his past didn't sound very noble at all. This sounds like an interesting guy. The guy was a weirdo, but since he spent all his time wandering around Shibuya, he knew a surprising amount of info about it.
でも大事なのは間違いないっぽいよ。さっき中に入ってった警察の人が応援呼んでたみたいだし。
I see. I decided to start by taking a video of the outside of the hotel with my smartphone. There you are.
こういう時だけ足早いな。
Thanks for joining us, Freddy. And there's Daphne. Maybe? I don't know. Kurusu seems more into me than Ito, so does that make me Freddy? But I'm the protagonist, so... and I act like Shaggy. Let me know what you think. I left the 2 of them in the club room, and they'd only just now caught up with me. They must have ran here. Ito, especially, was breathing very heavily.
なんだ、クルスも来たのか。
Kurusu came too? Kazuki had decided not to come, evidently. She's quiet, but she seems like she could be the inquisitive type, maybe a Thelma. I'm not really sure. Of course not. I'd never seen her outside except when we were going to and from school. She's a gamer.
で、事件か？
I told Ito what I'd heard from Serika. He seemed really disappointed.
なんだそりゃ。単に血は喧嘩かなんかで騒ぎになったんじゃねえの？
それだけでわざわざ応援なんて呼ぶか？それに今日は29日なんだぞ。
I mean, they don't... It's not easy to get a gun in Japan. You could call for backup just from a rowdy drunk. They wrap you up in a mattress. This is totally true, by the way.
だから気にしすぎだって言ってるでしょ。
I'm not crazy. Kurusu seemed upset. She glanced at the love hotels around her in disgust.
早く学校に戻りましょう。学生がいていい場所じゃない。監視カメラに映っているのが問題になったらどうするの？
We could say it was a learning experience. She probably didn't want to get involved. Ever since the rebuilding, there had been more cameras around Shibuya than ever before, even around the love hotels. Gotta catch those earthquakes before they happen on camera. They're sneaky like that. In our school uniforms, we probably stood out. Kurusu motioned for us to go home, and then I saw something in the viewfinder. On the 3rd floor of the Love Hotel, the windows in one of the rooms facing the alley were open. The windows must have been all the way open because the curtains were fluttering out.
なあ、普通こういうとこって窓開いてないもんだよな。
I asked Ito as I looked up at them.
ん？まあそうなんじゃねえの？使ったことなんかねえからわかんねえけど。
Ito followed my gaze and saw it for himself. It felt suspicious. I'd never been to a love hotel either, so I didn't know, but normally you'd keep the windows shut, right? You wouldn't want people seeing or hearing what you were doing. Unless you were into that. Giggity. And then suddenly I heard a sound from somewhere. It was a calming sound with a simple melody. I took a closer listen. Was it a music box? It definitely was. It was coming from the room with the open windows. It sounded like it was inviting us in. What was going on? I looked around. The building across from the open window was another love hotel, but it had no windows on that side. I couldn't look into the building like I'd done with a karaoke box last week. And I certainly couldn't climb my way up.
ちょっと何考えてるの？
I must have had a pensive look on my face because Kurusu turned to me and asked,
バレ
Well,
ないように中に入れれば。
I looked over at the parking meters. There was still only the one car.
裏
Okay,
口ぐらいどっかにあるだろうから、応援の警察が来る前に済まそう。伊藤、そっち側から回ってくれ。
おう。
let's split up, gang.
僕はこっち側から。
ちょっとタクル、こっち見なさい。
Knock it off, Mom. I began to go around the building, not waiting for Ito's answer, but Kurusu grabbed my arm.
ダメ。こんなの部活の範疇じゃないでしょ。私の言うことが聞けないの？
Crap. She was just a millimeter short of making that face again.
しかもここ、いかがわしいホテルでしょう。
Well,
それにもし妙なことに巻き込まれたらどうするの？
I mean, that's what we're hoping for, right? I knew all that. But I didn't want to give up. This might be my chance to get a real scoop.
停学にでもなったらどうするつもり？姉として弟を危険な目に遭わせるわけにはいかないの。
Ah, the truth comes out. They're related. But wait, they don't have the same last name, so step siblings?
弟というか家族でも何でもないじゃんか僕たちは。
Ouch. That's real cold. Instantly, Kurusu grabbed me by the collar with incredible force and brought her face so close to me that our foreheads touched. Headbutt! I could tell her cheeks were flushed. There was a small, wordless growl from deep within her throat, and her arms were shaking a little as she held me. What was she trying to say? No, I knew what she was trying to say, but Kurusu didn't say it. Kurusu wasn't the sort of awful person who'd bring up the distant past to try and win an argument. And anyway, that was all over now. It wasn't either of our faults.
やめー
What happened? Now I want to know. Suddenly, Serika ran over and tackled Kurusu. The momentum slammed both of them into the ground.
ちょっとセリカ、何して。喧嘩はダメだよ、のんちゃん、タク。5人でみんな仲良くが新聞部のモットーでしょ？
That's a motto? No, that was never our motto. Okay.
しんちゃんも止めなきゃダメじゃん。
いや、つうかどこ行ってたんだ？
ああ、そうだ。喧嘩してる場合じゃないんだよ、タク。
She suddenly hopped up like a cheap toy. She's really energetic given what we're here to do.
裏のドア開いてる。
Oh?
喉乾いて自販機なくてホテルの中ならあるだろうと思って裏のドア見つけて開けて中入って自販機やってさすが妖精のダンスじゃんやるじゃんって思って買って一気飲みしてたらあれって
んだよそれ。
お前いつも後先考えずに突き進むよな。
So maybe a Scrappy Doo would work better than a Scooby.
タクどうするの？
She definitely reminds me of some kind of cute animal. I could tell that Kurusu was glaring at me, but she didn't say anything. She couldn't say anything.
二人で行こう。カップルの方がいざという時にごまかしが効くかもしれない。
But you're still in uniform. What? That was a fast yes. Oh, we might have a chance. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, Serika beckoned me to follow her. I did. Later, Ne-chan. I didn't say it, but in my heart I apologized to Kurusu as I went. Of course she couldn't hear me, but she didn't say anything.
階段向こうなんだけどな。
Yeah, how are we gonna get there? We went inside the hotel from the rear entrance and hid behind the corner that led to the lobby. This was my first time inside a love hotel, and it was a lot less gaudy than I'd expected. The name was false advertising. There were no fairies, and no one was dancing. It's not exactly false advertising if fairies aren't real in the first place. And I'm sure someone's dancing, you don't see it. Okay? Maybe the quiet atmosphere was a selling point. But
ですから人を早くよこしてください。いや、それは新庄さんに聞いてください。
The quiet was ruined by the sound of a police officer screaming into his phone. He was either confused or just excited because he kept saying the same things over and over again. Something had happened after all, and something bad enough that he needed backup. This was my chance. If we could get to the scene before the place was overflowing with cops, we might be able to find an unexpected scoop.
はい、それは間違いありません。確認しました。ですがこちらでは判断が。いえ、ですからそういう状態じゃないんです。
くそ。
That cop was in our way. Whether we took the stairs or the elevator, we needed to go through the lobby to get to them.
タク、行くよ。
え？
早く。
Serika took me by the arm, as if we were a couple, and entered the lobby without trying to hide at all.
おいおい。
She's really chill about this. She ignored me and walked straight for the stairs.
おい！
We are so dead. The cop must have seen us because he yelled at us from behind. Shit. He probably hadn't seen our faces. Should we run? No, that would just make us look suspicious.
部屋から出るなと言っているだろう。はい。いえ、すいません、大丈夫です。それより早く応援を。
He started to mumble into his phone. He's too busy. We crossed the lobby without looking back. I guess uniforms weren't an issue?
するなよ。
でもタクの言った通りだったじゃん。ごまかせたごまかせた。
びっくりした。
That was a close call. My heart was pounding so loud that the noise was making me sick. Could he not tell that we were high school students? No, even if he saw us from behind, he'd be able to tell by our uniforms. That's what I'm saying! Why didn't he arrest us? Because something bigger is up there than a couple of high school students at a love hotel. Maybe he was panicking so much that the thought never occurred to him.
てと、どうしようか。
What's up there? Serika let go of my arm and turned toward me. That's right. Now wasn't the time for thinking about other things.
外から見たあの場所が現場かどうかはわからないけど、とりあえず3階から当たろう。そこが外れだったら他の場所を見ていく。警察の応援が来たらそこで切り上げ。でも警察の様子から見て、やっぱり何か事件があったんだ。絶対に取って帰ろう。
オッケー。
It was quiet. The policeman's voice was still drifting up the stairs, and it only made the quiet seem more oppressive. Why didn't we take the elevator if they were both in the lobby? Ambiance is the answer. Just like he said, the customers had probably been told not to leave their rooms. It was too late for it to matter now, but I was starting to feel a little scared. Come to think of it, if something had happened, maybe the killer was still there.
そういえばタク、まだのんちゃんと喧嘩しちゃってるんだね。
Oh, she means Kurusu. She said none. I thought she was using a French accent for a second. Serika's voice was relaxed. I was grateful. I'd take any opportunity to relieve this tension.
喧嘩ってわけじゃないよ。
No, maybe it was.
でもまだクルスって呼んでるんでしょ。気持ちはわかるけど、なんとかならないかな。
Yeah, that is pretty cold. Insecurities, maybe? Until half a year ago, I'd called her Nono, her first name. After the incident that had caused me to leave the dorm, I'd never called her that again. As long as I kept calling her Kurusu, she'd keep being mad at me. It must have been hurting some important part of her.
Taku.
Well, we were just getting into this.
Oh.
Well, that was a short dream sequence. Oh well, the next thing I knew, we were on the 3rd floor. Serika had gotten ahead of me at some point, and was poking her head around the corner into the hallway.
誰もいないみたい。
よし。
I took out my phone and got ready to record. I hate hallways like this. Painting it red just makes it look like an accident at a hospital. Checkerboard patterns make it feel like an insane asylum. As soon as I went into the 3rd floor hallway, I found myself holding my breath. My heart was pounding even louder than when the cop had yelled at us. I tried to control myself and look down the corridor. The rooms must have been very big because the gap between the doors was large. The floor was red, sinking into black as the hallway stretched away. It looks like it's gonna swallow us. I could hear the unpleasant sound of blowing air. They must have had the air conditioner on. There were no windows, and there wasn't a lot of light, so the hallway looked pretty creepy, but there was nothing out of the ordinary about it otherwise. But still, it was strange. The air felt solid. It felt like someone would jump out from the shadows the second you let your guard down. Or perhaps that there were traps scattered everywhere along the floor. Hot lava! You ever play that game with tiles? For a second, the floor seemed to be stained with blood, but I shook that image out of my mind. You get the feeling too? What was this? It was like the fear you feel in the darkness at night. Was it just because there was so little light? No, it was worse than that. Delusion time? It felt like someone was watching me and enjoying my unease. It was like they were peering deep into my heart. Has anyone ever actually felt someone's gaze upon them? Narratives love using that expression, and it never made sense to me.
Taku?
Come back to us. I almost jumped off the ground with a start.
どうしたの?
Don't talk to me like that. You scared the hell out of me.
なんでもない。なんか変じゃないか。
Kind of. I gestured with my head down the hallway. Serika looked past me into the darkness.
そりゃ暗いからなんか不気味だけど、雰囲気作りとかじゃないの?
It's creepy to set the mood? Mysterious, maybe? That's about as far as I'd go with it. Was it? Was that all? Was I being too sensitive? I tried flipping the light switch on the wall next to me, but nothing happened. Maybe the bulbs were burnt out. Or maybe it wasn't the switch for the hallway at all. Damn it, this wasn't 1407 or something. I think this was one. So, 1407 was... Oh, that was a movie. I never saw this movie, but yeah, American horror movie about a hotel where they all commit... Oh, spoiler alert! By Stephen Queen. That wasn't casual enough. We all know who they're talking about. Well, it's not like I'm... an avid fan of that, but still. I turned around. The only person there was Serika. No one else was looking at me. I took some time to make sure of it before I spoke.
行くぞ。
Serika nodded cheerfully and stayed behind me as we walked deeper into the hallway. I remember the location of the window I'd seen outside. It was probably deeper in the hall, the furthest one in the back, or the one before it.
あの2つのどちらかかな。
I walked as silently as I could down the long hallway, toward the last rooms on the left side. With every step I took, I could feel the sensation of the hallway floor through the bottom of my heels. It was like I was being forced to think about nerves that I had never used. My body felt very tense. I didn't see any cops in the hallway. Usually, they'd at least leave one person here at the scene. Yeah, that's right. Don't they have like a partner? Shouldn't there be a guy guarding the door? Was this the wrong floor? We reached the second to last door. Room 306. Oh. This atmosphere is really creepy. I know I said all positive, and we're gonna keep to that. Jeez, I can't imagine what would come out if we chose negative delusion. Well, we've gotten a fair way into the game, about half an hour or so I think this is a good stopping space. So I'm gonna leave it here for today, and we'll pick this up on the next episode. Keep you in suspense a bit. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you all enjoy. See ya.